Land Cruiser is one of the most iconic SUVs ever built. But there are 7 very specific reasons why buying one right now might be a mistake. If you're seriously considering dropping nearly $60,000 on a new SUV and the Land Cruiser is at the top of your list, what you're about to hear could completely change your thinking. Most people assume that a nameplate this legendary must be the obvious choice in its class. But the reality is that several of its closest rivals are going to give you more space, a smoother engine, and a better overall experience for the same money or less. Number 7. Cheap-looking interior in base models. Paying close to $60,000 for an SUV sets certain expectations. Walk up to the base Land Cruiser 1958 trim, and the exterior more than delivers. The retro styling, the circular headlights, the purposeful stance. Then you open the door. Hard, cheap-feeling plastics, cloth upholstery, manually adjustable front seats. Think about what it feels like to finally sit down in a vehicle you've been saving for. The materials your hands land on first, the way the seat holds you. That moment is supposed to feel like a reward. In the base Land Cruiser, it doesn't quite get there. Shoppers at this price level are looking at unibody SUVs like Genesis GV80 and the Mercedes-Benz GLE, neither of which greets you with a cabin that feels like it belongs in a $30,000 crossover. Toyota's own reviewers are pointing buyers straight toward the higher Land Cruiser trim, which adds leatherette panels and feels noticeably more premium. You are, in effect, paying a $6,000 tax just to get the cabin up to a level that matches the price. And if the interior already has you second-guessing, wait until you find out what's happening at the fuel pump, because the hybrid promise isn't delivering the way most buyers are expecting. Number 6. Disappointing real-world MPG ratings. The numbers on paper look solid. The iForce Max hybrid system is rated at 22 city, 25 highway, 23 combined. That's genuinely competitive for a body-on-frame SUV with locking differentials. Better than the Lexus GX, better than the Land Rover Defender. Most people who factor a hybrid into a purchase decision are doing mental math at the pump, calculating savings over the course of ownership, fewer fill-ups on long trips. That math only works if the real-world numbers hold up. With the Land Cruiser, they don't quite. Independent testing is consistently averaging just 20 to 21 miles per gallon under normal driving conditions. 2 to 3 miles per gallon, short of the EPA estimate. Not catastrophic, but meaningful when efficiency is part of why you chose a hybrid. The Land Cruiser also requires premium fuel, which further chips away at the savings calculation. That shortfall is frustrating enough on its own, but it connects to a much bigger structural decision Toyota made with this generation, and that's coming up next. Number 5. No third row option. There was a time when the Land Cruiser could seat 8. That era is over. The current model is a strict 5-seater, with no third-row option anywhere in the lineup. Toyota downsized the Land Cruiser body for this generation, moving it closer to rivals like the Ford Bronco and Jeep Wrangler, rather than full-size SUVs like the Sequoia. The trade-off has real consequences. Parents who need to carry more than 4 passengers are going to find the Land Cruiser simply can't accommodate. What makes this particularly frustrating is that close relatives within the Toyota family still offer the third row. The Lexus GX, same platform, same basic engineering, is going to seat up to 7. The Sequoia does the same. Toyota's own lineup has the answer. It just isn't going to come wearing a Land Cruiser badge. Losing the third row is already a hard pill to swallow, but the cargo situation behind those 2 remaining rows is going to compound that frustration in ways most buyers aren't prepared for. Number 4. Small cargo area. The Land Cruiser is going to offer 46.2 cubic feet of cargo space behind the rear seats, a figure that sounds reasonable until you look at how it's delivered. Context matters here, and the context isn't flattering. Anyone who's loaded camping gear or a week's worth of luggage into a family SUV knows how fast usable space disappears. You need every cubic foot to be accessible, not just measurable on a spec sheet. That's where the Land Cruiser runs into trouble. The hybrid battery sits beneath the cargo floor, pushing the load surface significantly higher than it should be. Every item going into the back needs to be lifted roughly 4 inches above the tailgate opening. On longer trips, that adds up. Door pockets are small, and cabin storage for anything larger than a phone is essentially an afterthought. For a vehicle marketed around adventure, that's a practical shortcoming that surfaces almost every time the tailgate opens. The cargo area is one thing, but the way this SUV moves on the road is a separate issue that's going to affect every single drive, not just the ones where you're packing gear. Number 3. Truck-like handling. The Land Cruiser's body-on-frame roots show up on public roads in ways that aren't always easy to live with. Steering is light and short on feedback, functional, but it isn't going to give you confidence in what the front tires are doing when precision matters. Body roll in corners is noticeable, and the overall experience is a long way from the composed feel that buyers at this price point have come to expect from daily driving. Then there's braking distance. Picture yourself on a highway with traffic slowing suddenly ahead. Bringing this SUV to a full stop from 70 miles per hour is going to take 190 feet, which is a figure that stands out in testing, and not favorably. Panic braking also produces significant nosedive. It all adds up to a driving character that suits trail work well, and the daily commute somewhat less. The handling asks for patience, and unfortunately, so does the back seat, which has its own set of compromises worth knowing before anyone climbs in. Number 2. Tight second row. 5 passengers and 5 comfortable passengers are two very different things. The second row is the Land Cruiser's most consistent weak point, and it shows up quickly in real-world use. Rear legroom is going to feel constrained for taller adults. The seat cushion sits lower to the floor than is ideal, pushing knees up into an unnatural angle on longer drives. Think about a 4-hour road trip. Passengers in the back start shifting, searching for a position that works. In a nearly $60,000 SUV, that conversation shouldn't be happening. Rivals like the Genesis GV80 and Mercedes-Benz GLE handle rear seat space noticeably better, which matters for the luxury buyer whose driving rarely involves a trail. For a vehicle with family-capable positioning, the second row is a harder sell than it needs to be. If you've made it this far and you're still considering the Land Cruiser, the final reason might be the one that genuinely redirects you, because the most compelling alternative is closer than most people realize. Number 1. GX comes with a V6. This one isn't about a flaw, it's about a better option sitting one step away. The Land Cruiser and the Lexus GX share the same platform, the same basic architecture, the same fundamental engineering. The difference in what each delivers is striking. There's a particular frustration that comes with paying serious money for a vehicle, then discovering a close relative built on the same bones offers a meaningfully stronger experience. That's exactly the situation Land Cruiser buyers are walking into. The GX runs a twin-turbo V6, smoother, more refined, without the coarse note the Land Cruiser's 4-cylinder produces under hard acceleration. Car and drivers testing put the GX to 60 in 6.3 seconds. The Land Cruiser took 7.7. The GX also carries a 9,000-pound tow rating, 3,000 more than the Cruiser's maximum, and it's bringing back a functional third row with a more premium cabin from the base trim-up. Yes, the GX is going to cost around $8,000 more, but for a buyer whose priorities extend beyond fuel economy, that gap closes faster than it looks. A smoother engine, more towing, more seating, and a more refined daily experience. The GX is where all of those things are going to live. The Land Cruiser is genuinely capable off-road, and its tech and design remains strong points. But a sparse base interior, real-world fuel economy that trails its own estimates, no third row, a high cargo floor, truck-like dynamics, a tight rear seat, and a platform mate that outperforms it in almost every daily driving category. Taken together, these aren't footnotes. They're the realities that surface on the third road trip and the second school run. For buyers who spend more time on pavement than on trails, stronger options exist at this price, and several of them are closer to the Land Cruiser than most people think. With these drawbacks in mind, many drivers will lean toward the cheaper 4Runner, but despite all the amazing characteristics, this SUV also comes with several weak points, so make sure to check out our next video about the good and bad things of Toyota's legendary SUV. Yes, it's bulletproof and super capable off the road, but it lacks refinement and the ease of use for everyday driving.